So when you're trying to figure out the order to enter data into your tables, you need to look at your database diagram. So whether you are using the one from Word or you're able to use one that you generated in SQL Server, the order that you add the tables is the tables that do not have any foreign keys have to be added first. So looking at my inventory table, all I have is a primary key there. I will be adding that one first. Zip code is another one that I can add first. And those are the first two. Okay. Once I finish with those two, then I can add my tables that are using my inventory or zip code as foreign keys. So to add the data, you are going to need to create scripts. And I'm going to go ahead and do a new query window. I would suggest saving these queries, these insert statements that you're going to be creating and turning them in rather than trying to generate scripts. To me, this is just simpler and easier. And then if you need to recreate your database, you have everything that you need. So I'm going to start with zip code. And it's simply insert into, but I do need to tell it. It looks like it is using my fictional business, but I'm going to go ahead and key this in. And so I'll say insert into zip. Oh, I'm calling it zip code. And values. Now, if I'm going to enter all of the values, I don't need to list the columns. Okay? So I just need to basically make sure that I'm using the right data types. So I've got variable character for all three, so I need to put them in single quotes. And this is where your spreadsheet is going to kind of help you out. So I've got mine open. I'm just going to kind of pull it over here. And for zip codes. So you can see that I've got this sample data in here. So basically, if I do these side by side, it will make entering this data, hopefully, easy. And you want to make sure you put a comma in between. So let's see. So basically, I'm a lazy typist, so I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste. Let's see, how many do I have? I've got 6. Okay, and then it's just a matter of kind of double clicking and adjusting some of the numbers here. And I'm going to pause the video while I finish this. And once I've got all of this entered, I'm going to go ahead and execute it. Oh, let's see. It looks like I tried to do a duplicate. 3. Oh, I did. All right. So that happens to you. I'm going to comment out everything above my duplicate, and I'm going to make it unique now. And we will run it again. Yay. Okay, so at this point, all of my data should be in my zip code table. Let me pull this down. And if you want to verify this, just come down to an empty line and do a select on your table. So I'm going to select everything from zip code. And then you should see that it added all your records. So I'm going to zap that. And now that I have zip code entered, my other table that I said I could do was inventory. Okay. And also in your spreadsheets, you should have indicated, or I helped you indicate where the foreign keys were. So these first tables shouldn't have any. Okay, they should just be primary keys. So these are the one tables in our one-to-many relationships. And the data has to be in them before we can put it into a related table. So I'm going to go ahead and do another insert into. And this time, my table is going to be inventory. And I always kind of double check what I named my columns and data types just to make sure that I'm not messing anything up. So I've got artwork ID, integer, primary key, which means the values have to be unique. Now, because I said this was an integer, I do not put it in double quotes. It's just a whole number. Okay. And I'm going to be boring and start mine with a 1. And then my next one is a variable character. So that one I do have to put in quotes. And then the next one is also character. And let's see, I got my medium. The dimensions, did I forget my mounting? Probably. The artwork description, medium, mounted. Looks like I forgot a column. Okay, well, if this happens to you, you can insert it. So I'm going to comment this out because I don't want to rekey it. And I'm going to go ahead and add a column. So a little review here. If you want to add a column, let's see, we have to do an alter table. And I will be doing it on inventory. And then I'm going to say add. And my column name is mounted. And that would be variable character. And I'll just make it 50. And here we go. All right, so now if I refresh, there that is, and I expand out, now I do have my missing column. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm just going to keep this in here. If I ever did have to recreate all this, I'd want to add that column back in. And here we go. So now I have it in a little different order than my spreadsheet because you'll notice that mounted is down here. So I'll just have to remember that while I'm typing everything in. So my next one I'm going to do is dimensions, which I have as variable character. So that has to be in quotes. And then I've got my cost. And I made that money, so I can do a number with decimals. And anytime you've got something as money, integer, anything like that, you're just going to do the number with no quotes. And let's see, then we've got price, which is also money. And then I've got mounted. That was variable character. And this one is matted. All right, so I'm going to copy all that. And then I'm going to paste. And I'm going to go through and change. How many of these do I have? All right, so I'm going to do a couple more. And then I'm just going to go in and kind of make editing changes. So I'm going to pause the video here. All right, so now I've entered and kind of customized all of this, and I'm going to run it. And hopefully that's what you guys will see with no errors. That's always a good thing. And I'm going to move my closing comment down. Okay. And then if I want to see everything that's in that inventory table, it's just select asterisk from inventory. Okay. And then I can see the data that I just added. And I'll go ahead and pull this down. All right, so those were my one tables. And I believe I have one more one table. Look here, I believe locations down here is also a one table. So I'm going to go ahead and add data to that one. That is a pretty small table. So this one's going to be hopefully super easy for me to add data to. So I'm going to take a quick look at my columns like I always do. So I've got an integer and I've got variable character. So it's just insert into, and this one is locations, and then my values. And I believe I'm just doing the boring 1, 2, 3 business. So I've got the 1 with no quotes. And then the name is variable characters, so I do need to put a single quote in. And I'm going to copy that. I've got 6 of them. And this shouldn't take too long. Okay, so that's all set. I'm going to go ahead and run it. Okay, so that all worked too. Move my closing comment down. So at this point, I've got my locations, I've got my zip code, and I've got my inventory. So I can start adding some of the tables that are related to those tables. So if we take a look at this, and you can also look at your spreadsheet too. Once I have zip code, I can add my customers because zip code is a foreign key. Okay, so once I've got the zip codes, I can go ahead and add the customers. And once I've got my customers, I can add my orders. In order to add orders, I need to have my customer ID and my location ID. So this table and this table have to be filled in before I can do this one. Okay, so I've already filled in location and zip. I'm going to do customers, and that will enable me to do orders. The very last table that I'm going to do is order details, because this is going to require my order ID from this table. Okay, so I have to wait until this table is done before I can do this one. Okay, so I've got 3 left, and I'm going to do customers, followed by orders, followed by order details. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video because you don't need to watch me type. And when I get ready to run the insert statements, I will start recording again. So I entered all of the data for customers, and before I run this, I am going to double check the zip codes because those are the foreign keys, and I will get errors if I try to add a zip code that is not in my zip code table. That is going to create all sorts of problems for me. And I think I did this one as, instead of 09, I think I did 10. So I'm just going to double check and make sure these are all legit. Otherwise, I will have errors. Okay, so that looks fine. And I'm going to go ahead and run it. All right, so that one worked. And my next one I have to add is orders. I'm going to move this down. And looking at my order table. So I'm just going to basically do it the same way as I did the other ones. And let's see, I've got an integer for my key. Order date is date time. That has to be entered in quotes. So I'm going to try to find my order data so I don't have to think so hard here. And I have to make that a little thinner. And then in my quotes, I'm going to do the date. And my location ID and customer ID are foreign keys, and they're both integers. So that's my first one. I'm going to copy it, and I did 6 of them. And so this will be fairly easy because I'm just going in numeric order. And even changing location ID and customer ID is really not going to be too difficult. And for this, I've got what? 1, 1, 2, 5, 4, 6. Okay, so then it's just a matter of tweaking the dates, which I'm going to pause the video for here. Okay, I'm not going to bother checking my location or my customer foreign keys because I know these are correct. I had 6 locations and I have 5 customers, so those are all valid. So I'm going to go ahead and execute. And now I have data in my order table. And that leaves me with my order items or order details. And that will be the last table that I need to populate. And this is another fairly little one. So we're going to do insert into order details. And let me pull it up over here. So I'm just going to number the IDs 1 through 10, just like I have in the spreadsheet. And then I've got order ID, which is my foreign key. So I can only enter numbers that are in my order table. Okay, so I can only use the IDs from order that I've already entered, okay, as order ID. And then my inventory number is also foreign key. So that means that this artwork ID, those are the only numbers I can enter. And then quantity is not a foreign key, so I'm going to kind of go with the spreadsheet here, but basically I could enter whatever I want. However, it is a number. I've got 3 integers here. Actually, 4 integers. So I don't have to do double quotes around or single quotes around anything. I'm basically just entering a bunch of numbers. And let's see. Order details. Did I spell that right? Oh, helps if you put values in here. Order details, values. And I've got 10 of them. All right. So it's just a matter of going through and changing these numbers. All right, so I've got all of my IDs set. Now let me look at my order IDs. So first 2 are coming from order number 1. And I've got a couple coming from order number 2. Got a couple coming from order number 3. 1 from order number 4. And the last 3 are coming from order number 5. And these are the inventory items they're ordering. So I've got item 1, item 2, item 5, item 4, another order for item 5, item 4, item 1, item 2, item 3, and item 4. And then we get into quantity. So I've got 2, they ordered 2, they ordered 5, ordered 4, 5, 1, 2, guess I didn't need to replace that one, 4, 1, 2, and 1. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and run this. And at this point, I have all of the data in my tables. So if you have commented out your script like I did, this is all you need to turn into me. Okay? Now, if you didn't do this, or you had problems or issues, you can generate code to turn in. The only problem with doing that is it just puts a bunch of extra junk in your code. So I am going to show you how to do this. So my fictional database here, or business, I'm going to right click on it, point to tasks, and then I'm going to select generate scripts. Whatever that lovely command is. There it is. And I'm going to choose objects. And let's see. Basically what I want is my tables and my data. So I'm going to select specific objects and I'm going to choose the tables, and then that's actually choosing all the tables I have in here. And I'm going to click on next. And then I need to click on advanced. Okay, so what I need to select here is data to script. That will get all of the data that I've just entered into the script. Wherever that is. Types of data to script. Here we go. Okay, so that's what I want. Types of data to script. And actually I want data only. So I'm going to have to change it. Okay, because what we just did was insert data. That's what I want script. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And then I'm going to enter a name for my script. So I think I'm going to have to click on next first. So you can save it to a specific location. You can save it to the clipboard, or you can do a new query window. Okay, so if you keep it here on the first option, you are going to have to pick a location for it. And you may want to change it at this point. So I would call this my fictional business data. And then find your location where you're going to put it. I'll just stick it right in documents for right now. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit next. So here's just a little summary of what I'm doing. And probably the most important thing, where I'm going to store this. And you can see that it went ahead and saved the file to the location I said. I'm going to hit save. Now I'm also going to save this, because to me this script is actually more useful. And let's see. And I'm going to call this my business insert into scripts. And I'll stick that out on documents as well. And then if you are curious to see what that looks like, I'm going to go ahead and open the one that I put in documents, the one that I generated, so you can compare them. Let's see. Okay, so this is the one it generated. Okay, and this is the one that I did. So you can kind of decide which one you like better, and it does not matter to me which one you turn in. I will point out, though, I did have to fix my one of my tables. That code is not going to be in here. This is just straight insert code. Okay, so you can turn in either one. Let me know if you have any questions.